Hey everyone, I thought I'd do a quick update to describe my experience with getting my COVID-19 vaccine. It started off pretty chaotic actually. My health system was originally expecting to get the Moderna vaccine on the Monday before Christmas. However, due to some shipping problems, surprise, surprise, at Christmas time, our vaccine didn't show up until Tuesday. I was originally scheduled to get mine on Christmas Eve. However, because of the shipping delay, that kind of messed up the schedule. So we were then told to sign up for any available slots at the hospital because originally they were going to come to my clinic. Well, as luck would have it, there was actually a spot open Tuesday night, so I went ahead and snatched that up. And then just as I was getting ready to leave the clinic on Tuesday, because Tuesday's my early day, my manager stops me and says, "Hey, they're on their way to come to the clinic to give us our vaccines. Don't leave yet." So a little bit of a chaotic start, but I was able to get my vaccine on the Tuesday prior to Christmas. And so I thought I'd let you know just kind of my experience with getting the vaccine, any side effects that I've had since then, and just kind of talk about what you can expect. So I did get my vaccine on the Tuesday before Christmas. Really felt like any other vaccine I've been given. It's an intramuscular shot done in the arm. And as you might expect, my arm was a little sore after that. Nothing more than getting a tetanus booster or the annual flu shot, but it did stay sore for a couple of days. I'm now about 4 days since the vaccine and feel perfectly fine. My arm doesn't hurt anymore. It was sore for a couple of days, but nothing that stopped me from doing anything, honestly. And until I went to raise my arm, didn't even really notice that I had anything going on with it. The next day, I did have a little bit of a headache, but honestly, I'm not quite sure that that was due to the vaccine. I hadn't slept well the couple of days before that, and unfortunately, not sleeping well is usually a trigger for my migraines, and the headache that I had was exactly like one of my migraines. It was in the same place, it was the same intensity, everything about it screamed migraine, and actually had that for a couple of days until I caught up on some sleep Christmas Eve, and then it went away. So I don't know that I can blame that on the shot, to be honest with you. Did feel a little bit tired as well the last few days, but again, hadn't been sleeping well, so really not sure that I can blame that on the vaccine either. So overall, really, other than a sore arm for a couple of days, I don't think I really experienced any side effects whatsoever. So going very well. There were several people in my office that got the vaccine. So far, everybody that I've talked to has done very well with it. No side effects other than the sore arm. Other than one person, we did have one person in my office who the next day woke up with a little bit of a low-grade temperature and a little bit of upset stomach. Again, not sure if that was the vaccine or if it was some other viral gastroenteritis going around that she may have just caught as a coincidence. But out of precaution, my manager did submit that to our health system as a potential side effect so they can investigate it, because we want to take any report of a potential side effect seriously with this vaccine, just so we make sure that we're as transparent in the process as we can be. We know there's going to be some mild side effects. If you look at the literature from the vaccine studies, there were mild side effects in several people throughout the study, so that's not to be unexpected. One thing I do want to address, though, is you may be hearing in the media some of these very severe allergic reactions that are requiring people to go to the emergency room or to have medication given to them to stop the allergic reaction. That's actually not unheard of either, to be honest with you. These vaccines are very safe. There's actually very few ingredients in them, and I'm saying they're very safe based on the data that we have so far. Let me clarify that, because I know somebody's going to comment that how do we know they're safe? We know they're safe from the studies that we've done so far, and we'll continue to collect data going forward. But so far they look very safe, and honestly they have very few ingredients in them to even have an allergic reaction to. But I really liked the comparison that the lead infectious disease doctor at our health system made last week in comparing, giving a vaccine now to thousands and thousands of people and not expecting to have an allergic reaction. It's gonna happen. I mean, that's just the way it goes. Somebody's gonna have an allergic reaction. The more people you give it to, the more potential you have. That's one of the reasons why after you get the vaccine, you have to wait around for 15 minutes. So the comparison that he made was actually to being given a penicillin shot. There's a little bit of trepidation amongst people in the country about getting the vaccine, although recent polls have shown that more and more people are now expecting to get the vaccine than ever, up to as much as 70% of those polled in one recent survey. So that's good news, because that keeps going up, and I would assume that as more people get the vaccine and more people hear of positive stories like mine versus some of the negative ones that unfortunately the media is going to report to you, hopefully we can build that confidence, and that's honestly why I'm sharing my story today, so that hopefully you feel comfortable when it's your turn to get the vaccine, that it's safe and effective. Not just based on the studies, but based on reports from people who you can hear firsthand about. So anyways, the penicillin story that he gave was, most people coming into his infectious disease office, if he were to give them a penicillin shot, even if they hadn't reported a prior adverse reaction, most people would not think twice about taking that penicillin shot so they could cure the infection that they had. But there's going to be more people, statistically speaking, going to have a severe allergic reaction to penicillin than we will see people have an allergic reaction to this vaccine. So I hope that just kind of puts it in perspective. It really kind of hit home with me and put it in perspective, again, that we will expect some people to have an allergic reaction, but nowhere near the numbers of people who we might expect to have an allergic reaction to something as simple as penicillin, which has been around for decades. Nobody would honestly question getting it if they had an infection. And so, his rationale for saying that was, it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen real commonly, and that shouldn't be something that stops you or causes you to pause when thinking about getting the vaccine. There may be other things that stop you to think about whether you should get it or not, and that's perfectly acceptable. But don't let these media reports scare you into thinking that everybody who gets the shot is going to have a severe allergic reaction and possibly die from getting the vaccine. This vaccine, the safety about this vaccine is being taken very seriously, and the CDC and the FDA are monitoring the safety of it even as it rolls out to frontline healthcare workers and others, and will continue to. They have created a new program called VSafe that is voluntary. You don't have to participate in it, but if you want to, you can. And it's just an extra layer of monitoring people after they get the vaccine. I went ahead and signed up for it just so I could see what it was like. And basically it's a text messaging system where you get a text message every so often asking you how you're feeling, allowing you to report side effects. So that's fantastic, because they're not just waiting for people to go to the doctor, or they're not just waiting for somebody to have a severe reaction. They're quizzing people and asking them, have you had any symptoms? Have you had any side effects? And people are much more likely to report things when you're proactively being asked than if you're just going to report it, just because. Most people are not going to call their doctor to report that they had a headache or, a low-grade temperature after a vaccine. Maybe they might after this one, but most of the time that doesn't happen. But because the FDA and the CDC want to be as transparent and as careful as they can with this vaccine, they're proactively asking people, have you had any of these symptoms, so that they can continue to collect safety data on this vaccine. There's also the existing vaccine adverse event reporting system, or VAERS for short, that is also out there to collect adverse reactions to vaccines as well. That's for all vaccines, and that's been out there for a long time as well. But just know that the safety of this vaccine is being taken very seriously. But I want you to be reassured and feel that it is safe. And so far we know that it's effective, at least in the early trials. And those folks that were participating in the initial clinical trials are still being monitored as well. So we'll continue to have data on efficacy going forward as well. Right now we have about 3 months. Eventually we'll have 4, 5, and 6, and on down the line to know exactly how effective this is and how long it's going to last. That's one of the questions that can't be answered right now because we simply haven't had enough time, but hopefully will be answered in the future, as far as how long does the vaccine last and how often will we have to get another booster vaccine, if at all. And we just simply don't know the answers to those questions yet. So like I said, I just wanted to do a quick video today to kind of update you on my progress. Overall, I feel great. I don't expect any additional side effects at this point. I will mention that in the studies there were a few more side effects after the second dose, so we'll find out how that goes here in about 3.5 weeks. With the Moderna vaccine, you get a second dose 28 days after your first dose. I am expecting that we might see a few more side effects after the second dose, because it was more common after the second dose, but we'll just have to see how that goes. Again, it's not going to happen in everybody. I'm secretly hoping that it doesn't happen in me, but if it does, so be it, because from what I've seen of the patients that I'm treating, having a little bit of a headache or feeling a little tired or a little achy for a day or so is going to be much better, and I'd much rather have that than having symptoms of COVID like the patients that I've been treating. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you will consider coming back for more videos in the future. Maybe hit that subscribe button if you want to, and give this video a like if you don't mind. I'd appreciate it. And remember, as always, be safe out there.